Hi everyone, this is Xailyyne here, and I'm doing the first of my my vlogs, celestial travel vlog. Today what I'm going to be doing is going through sort of marathon style, going through the Collage, our advanced editions. It's 1,000 samples, and I'm going to just kind of go through it and take a break in the middle of it and kind of sort of like travel vlog the collage experience, kind of give you like the at the middle point kind of what the takeaways are, kind of what I'm experiencing. Maybe you guys can relate to it as you're going through and doing your own collage training. Maybe you can't. You know, this is a good chance to interact, so you know, any thoughts that people have as they're seeing this would be really great to hear about. So feel free to share them in the comments section. And so that at the midpoint, I'll you know, take a break and just talk to you guys and let you guys know how it's been so far. And then at the end, again, I'll come back on and kind of give you like the, you know, the after crossing the finish line thoughts and takeaways. One of the things that I did notice as I was going through and just tagging the, we had symbols for the mojos, and we changed those, you know, as after we went through the first pass. Now that we're finalizing it, we actually put it in the pretty colors, you know, so like the like Nai in blue and then G in red, so it's like easily, so you can easily see the mojos as you're scrolling down through the collage. It helps you retain better. And as I was going and changing those into the words with the colors, I noticed one of the things I noticed right away was, which was interesting, was that there are Xailyyne represented in politics in you know, in different countries, and that's there. So it's like the Vaiji and Xailyyne. But interestingly, I was noticing, and I don't know right now, you know, of course, it's not like the deep analysis, so it's not like a final analysis, but just sort of like something that I noticed that was interesting is that it seemed that there were more, like there were Xailyyne males as presidents or prime ministers, but more in third world countries, and then there were Xailyyne ladies more in the more developed as leaders, as presidents and prime ministers in more developed countries. So that was pretty interesting. Sorry, what does this mean? I think it's, did it stop recording? I think it might have.
We have 2 minutes left. It's still recording.
Oh, okay. Thanks, guys. Okay, so you see, Coach and Adimas are here, and so they're you know, they're being co-pilots as I go through this. So I'm not alone, which is awesome. I have an awesome crew. And so, anyways, I'm gonna get started, and I'll come back at the middle point. See you guys. Hey guys. So I'm here at the halfway point of the collage, so page 250, and some observations so far. One is that it definitely takes a lot of stamina, even to get to page 250, and to really drink it in. It's you know, it takes some endurance. So you're kind of like takes some mental energy, and so you're kind of a little like you swam for a long time. That's kind of the feeling a little bit, or you're at the halfway point of a marathon or something. Some of the things that I noticed as I was going through the collages is, one, there are a lot of Vaiji basketball and football coaches. They kind of stand out just because you don't see a lot of Vaiji. You see some in politics, but the basketball and football coaches also, they're in very like very sort of like leadership positions that require them to be very alpha, I guess. And you really notice that even more so than politicians a lot of times. Another thing is that it definitely starts feeling like a village, like you know these people, like they're you know, you sort of like start really I don't know, I'm able to like sort of start simulating my interactions with these people, like I know them, like I could start talking to, you know, Mr. Vaiji man or Mr. Xailyyne lady or Mr. and Mrs. Xailyyne, or Miss Xailyyne lady. Also that my as I'm going through this and I'm getting accurate reads that are coming into my brain, my head feels better. Like things, they fall into place, and that doesn't happen like if you're just looking through a collage. In case you're wondering, if you're looking through a collage that has wrong reads or something, misreads, you won't have that same feeling. But when there are accurate reads there, and not just because you know that they're accurate reads, but just like the reading the faces with the right mojo, just like it clicks in your head, and there's nothing quite like that. And sometimes you may have some questions, like they might not feel quite right. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're the wrong mojo. It's just that maybe you just haven't seen a lot of that particular riff in a mojo, or you're just not as familiar with that mojo, and you have to kind of like take a look at them, or they have like some interesting physiology. Sometimes that can sort of throw you off a little bit. Also, let's see. Natural things that will happen with everyone is like the mojos that I have. You notice right away the mojos that you have less of a connection with, or that you don't have as many samples in your head. As you're going through it, they do feel less familiar, and you sort of, with those I kind of just go and I take the opportunity when I know that I don't have a lot of them in my head of that particular mojo, and I come across them, I definitely like pick them and go and watch video footage or look at pictures, so I get some more data in my head about them, and that really helps me fill in that particular mojo that I may not have so much familiarity with. And let's see. Ooh. Oh, one thing I've been noticing also, like with Xailyyne, is like a misconception that can be had, and I think like with typology, a lot of times, they'll have this misconception because things are so rigid or one-dimensional that, for example, Xailyyne would be have less expression because of the unflappability. They would be more expressionless, or have less expression than some other mojos. But in fact, because of the way the physiology is with the G aware mouth, and it's localized, and then you have the unflappable, still cheeks, all the way to the eyes with the knee, popping eyes or dancing eyes. They actually have their really, I guess, dramatic physiologies, and they can make a lot of expressions, like very flexible. They have a lot of them are really good at comedy because of that, like sort of almost like a rubbery quality to their face, and it's like really cool and poppy. So something interesting. Oh, and one more thing that I noticed is, even within the same mojo, you can tell, like I was looking at two Vaiji, and it really jumped out because they were, one followed by the other. And one Vaiji is like a TV news personality, and he's like the serious hard journal, that's his job. But you can see it in his face, etched in his face, not just because he's a Vaiji and he's concerned, but he has like the patterns that he's had, and you can see that it's had these patterns for a long time, maybe all his life, but it's sort of etched in his face. It was sort of like, I embody serious serious journalism, even by the way that the patterns have developed in myself, and they're sort of etched in his face even as they take the pictures of him. And the next one is a Vaiji also, but he's a soap opera star. And so for him, what pops out, like you see like this charismatic, like you see the G smile, and like the sort of a little like the serious hunter eyes, like I'm coming after you, but like sort of with a little mischievousness from me, because a lot of times they're sort of like scoundrels, like the some of these soap opera Vaiji stars, they play like the dashing scoundrel kind of figure, and this one seems that he kind of fits that way. But you see it etched in his face also, like the lines from like the charming smile that he's done all these years with his Xi, that the one that has the serious journalism one, he doesn't have any of those lines. Like he has like this serious, you know, Xi with Zai, like, you know, no nonsense, like I'm looking for hard truths. And the other one is like, let's go on a ride, baby, kind of, you know. And you can really tell that by, you know, the pictures, and especially as some will jump out, some will just jump out. Some other ones you'll develop as you go through the collages and get more familiar with the different mojos and the different riffs. But it's really fascinating stuff. And now I'm going to go into the second half of the collage, and we'll come back at the end. But now I think I'm getting my second wind, so it's perfect time to jump back in and see you guys in a bit. Hey guys, I reached the end of the collage, and it was, one thing is, one definite takeaway is keeping focus, because you start, you know, going past the middle part of it, and your tendency is to start like glazing, your eyes start glazing over it, they start becoming more blurry. But you have to keep, you know, calling attention to it and being on, for me with Vi, being on point with Vi, to make sure that I'm actually looking at them and capturing them and drinking them in with the knee, but being on point with the Vi. Because nothing's ever in isolation. Which brings me to the next point, which was, I was looking, one of the samples is Lana Del Rey, which is, she's a Xailyyne, and she has an interesting physiology, so an interesting like mouth, like a Cheshire cat. So I went in and took a look at some more at video footage. Some of the ones, like I said, you know, that when they look unusual, I actually go and take a look at video footage so I can really drink that sample in. And somebody had put in the comments something that shows that they really can't read. One, they don't understand how powers work, and how you know, a person is not one-dimensional. It doesn't have just one power, has different facets. And in particular, so what they said here is that when she was singing, that Lana Del Rey seemed to be a really powerful, intimidating woman with her deep voice. And watching her talk, she seems so innocent and almost childlike. She almost looks nervous and unsure of herself. I seriously wasn't expecting her to sound or act like this. So someone's really surprised to find, you know, when they actually see an interview of her, that, you know, she's like, seems like shy and reserved, rather than that, you know, powerful, sure of herself, you know, authoritative with the voice laying down natural law kind of person. But one, that's a misconception about spellcasters. A lot of times, a lot of people, when they actually, if they meet a spellcaster, when they're actually in their peaking mode, you know, when they're actually coming out and doing their spells out in the environment, they oftentimes are really surprised when they actually meet them in their actually natural state, which tends to be more, you know, reserved and I guess closed off from the environment, not so open. But you know, that's the nature of spellcasters. They go into the woods or into their caves and they kind of make their spells, and then they come out, you know, and then they show them, and you know, when they show them, they're like this big intense experience, but they may have spent like a long time in the lab, like in quiet, you know, in isolation, preparing these spells, and it's a very different state, like that natural state of a spellcaster. Another thing is, like, they misunderstand Xai, how it works. Xai is its source. The source of Xai is that innocence. So approaching things, you know, like from a it is very like childlike, very innocent quality to it. But then when it comes out and that's how it gets its own truths, you know, how it calibrates its compass, it's the harmony compass. You need to have that innocence to be able to do Xai. That's the way Xai works. But then when you peak, when a Xai mojo peaks, they're actually going into, you know, to articulation, into that polar. So they're a polar power, you know, they're using their polar power of Z in her case, and actually coming out and articulating, and that seems really, in that state, the Xai gives that sureness and this sort of, this really powerful, commanding sort of voice, but the natural state of Xai is very different. It's like this childlike, sort of, you're unsure of things, you know, like, do I really understand what's going on? Am I really aware of things? And you're sort of like, have this vague feeling that you're sort of stumbling through life a lot of times, like, you know, and bumping into things and, you know, understanding things like everywhere you go, sort of like in a childlike, innocent state. Which is really interesting. So there's this real, you know, dichotomy, but that's all part of a Xai mojo, you know, that innocent state, and then the powerful, intimidating, you know, I'm saying the way things are kind of state. That's all in one mojo, which is a beautiful thing. So I guess that is it for today. So this is the first vlog of many, so expect more to come, and I will see you next time.